Well, this is a ban list. I'll make 30% if you guys did not smash the like crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can climb up the 100K ladder here. So, we had rankings over here for top decks. You're going to see that the Synchro Turbo good stuff. Virtual World with Very Fun Dragon. And Pendulums were among some of your biggest represented decks here. Now, this was all from the Duels Cup. This was the top 10. This is what has actually led to our first actual, well, it's our second ban list in the history of Master Duel. So, forbidden over here is Celestial. Now, for those of you that remember us talking about Celestial being banned in the TCG, I got made fun of so much for this. I talked about Celestial could have been an option tree. You know, if they don't want Fusion Destiny running around so much, they just go after the good level 4. You know, the thing that I saw with Celestial in this game was the fact that it did more for, like, the spell trap popping than really anything else. Also, you know, like, a pot of greed effect is really good. Like, DPE was splashed in everything. And what's interesting enough to, like, kind of match this is they're not, you don't see Verte Anaconda on here. You don't see, they're leaving Fusion Destiny at 2. They're trying different pathways for this game, which is interesting. But yeah, going after Celestial and actually kind of analyzing how everything's went, it looks like that the pot of greed aspect is what they want to go for. Because honestly, it's that recovery play that makes this card ridiculous. Now, floodgates, and floodgates here. Imperial Order getting axed out of the game. Thank you. Okay, so the thing that's made Eldlich such a troublesome deck for so long is how many floodgates the gosh darn thing has access to. You know, after they limited Conk a ban list back, a lot of players were like, oh my gosh, like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. You know, dealing with the golden chicken nugget was really, really bad. So the fact that they went ahead and they've wrapped this up and took care of that problem, and then besides that, they took care of Vanity's emptiness as well, no, I'll clap for it. I'm very pleased to see that this is how we're going to fix both of these particular cards, by just getting them out of the game. Honestly, if we haven't learned anything in retrospect of modern era problems from the TCG OCG into this, yeah, this card shouldn't be allowed. Now, Gossip Shadow, so the world has learned that Rongo Reminiad is a heck of a card. Who would have guessed? It's almost like being able to transfer materials underneath a boss monster that stops the opponent from playing the game would be troublesome. But the path that they're going with here is they're not going to ban Rongo Reminiad. They're just going after bamboozling itself, which I think is fine. Like, bamboozling has caused enough problems in its era, you know, just being able to transfer those materials back and forth. Yeah, very good thing. Now, of course, as you saw in some of the highest representation of things here, Very Fun Dragon is finally getting shown out of the game. I can't believe it took a rocket scientist at Konami to wait for, like, this results to go, we need to do something about Very Fun Dragon, because VFD having the ability to jam an opponent for an entire turn, yeah, there are similar cards that state these conditions, but he was one of the craziest ones because they could have the trap card chain to spot removal him from the field. I'm absolutely shocked that it took all the way through the adventure package being legal for Konami to look at this card and go, oh, yeah, we're finally going to remove it. Come on, guys. We as a company, like, we look at you and we say that you need to maintain, like, good course here for this. It took you too long to get rid of this card in the game. Cards to be limited. So you go and get one Fusion Destiny. Now, without Celestial, you're still going to see, you're going to see people play this, man. I think people are going to look at this and they're going to go, I'm just going to play the Malicious, because Verte Anaconda still exists. Like, that's what I don't understand about this. You know, we're going ahead and we're going to take care of Fusion Destiny now. And for what real purpose, ladies and gentlemen? Like, just so we can Verte drop it? I think Verte needs to go in a future block. Pot of Prosperity to 1. Now, here's an interesting thing about this. I agree. Prosperity should be at 1 in every universal format. Problem is, TCG hasn't cashed in on that reprint equity yet. OCG, I think, has got it at, what, 2? There is no reprint equity in this game. All right, they can just straight put this ahead of schedule to 1. That means sprite format, when we touch down in the game, we only have 1 pot of prosperity. You know, they're definitely padding down for future releases. And I do agree that putting prosperity to 1 definitely helps out a lot of the situations here across the board. Cross out designator to 2. This card's application and play, I definitely attribute to the fact that Max C is running around. Basically, when you're in such a draw-heavy hand trap format, or a more reactive format, as I'm going to say here, because basically, when you look at this format, it's very reflective of like OCG mentalities at the end of the day. You definitely see, yeah, there's a lot of American players that do play Master Duel, but we have to play things like Crossout Designator to stop things like Max C from resolving, because getting Max C just ends your entire turn. That's literally a tradition in the OCG, I feel like, at this point, that if you just get Crossout Designator, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, what purpose does this serve? Well, putting it to 1 basically reduces the application for it. I feel like now you just back this into a corner of being a main deck staple, and if your opponent has the Crossout Designator, you're good. Just can't Crossout Designator the Crossout Designator anymore, which actually is a thing that happened a lot from what I've seen. And then the most pointless push to 1 is Meow Meow. Now, hear me out for a second. The TCG has lived this. I've seen this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! All right, I know what happens when we put Meow Meow to 1. Yes, I understand the Rite of Armisia package, Water Enchantress are both locked up behind some sort of limitations. But trust me, Konami, you know this isn't going to work, right? You know that in a future list here, you're going to be cleaning up Meow Meow Mew, and this isn't going to, this particular hit isn't going to end super well for you guys. So if you want to try it at 1, you're welcome to, because obviously that's what you're setting up for here. But my issue still remains that this is a very pointless hit. You either straight ban it, or it's just that. But I guess how many people want to play Praying Kids combo on ladder? I don't know. 2 semi-limit status. Multi-faker. Yay! There's no Mystic Mind in this game. You know, having something like this acting as like a control deck, I think is fine at the end of the day. It doesn't serve any facilitating purpose. That's why I've always been like very mean to Altergeist at the end of like these videos, is because it's always been at 1. You need 3 Faker in order to do something. We also get Gazelle back to 2. Yay! Soulman, great players. I feel like this is more of a victory, almost for Code Talker players out here at the end of the day. We'll have to wait and see on this one. I'm very curious to see if this will actually have an impact. I don't know. I want to give this one the benefit of the doubt and say I hope Gazelle will be super impactful. But knowing our luck, it's just going to kind of fall off to the wayside here. I also see that we're moving Tenki to semi-limit status. So whatever hit that this might be, this is either going to be good or bad for Tri-Brigade. Like, let's be honest, like, this is an entire Tri-Brigade hit here. You know, Tri-Brigade started out very strong on this game, and as we've been gradually adding in the power creep here, the deck has been handling some very, very, very spotty issues with the format. Like, we know this, we understand this, but man, oh man, it's an interesting time out here. And then we're finally seeing Skill Drain go to 2. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like, you know, the Eldlich is still getting away with so much here. They lost Imperial Order, they lost Vanity's Emptiness, but Skill Drain to 2, that's so unfair. Look, man, 2 bans and a semi-limit for Eldlich is pretty big. Like, I hate to tell you that, but like, yeah, they still have Floodgates, but like, they lost 2 power cards in the grand scheme of things. So, overall, is this a good list? Yes and no. Meow Meow to 1 is whatever. Banning Celestial is quite hilarious in my opinion. Like, that's a hit that, like I said, we should have had a long time ago in the TCG. Should have had. But removing VFD, taking care of like the troublesome floodgates, you know, the cards that are problems, they're taking a good initiative to step forward here and take care of these things. So I would say the Master Duel now gets a +1 from me. I've been dabbling a little bit more in it now that I finished my right package, but let me tell you, man, Sorcerer just took a pretty huge hit here in terms of, you know, those cross-out designators and those Pot of Prosperities. I guess you still have desires at the end of the day, right? So, what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of subscribe button. See you beautifully. Back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.